This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Well, you might have heard before that everything in life is about balance. Everything's got to fit like a puzzle. All the pieces need to fit in there. And like your car, if one of the tires, one of the wheels is out of balance, what's going to happen? Car's going to wobble a little bit. It's not going to be running as well as it should or could. Now take two of those wheels. You got a little issue with them. Now you've got, challenges navigating forward. Your life is the same thing. How do we find balance in our lives? We're going to talk about that today. And specifically for men, trying to balance everything between work, themselves, family, relationships, all of that. She helps men figure that out. She's an amazing life coach for men, and she's back with us. Andrea Pineau joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
I am well, thank you. How are you doing?
Honestly, better since I, a while back, realized this balance thing. It's big. No, seriously, yeah. I really mean that. Is it always a work in progress? I believe, at least in my world, it is. Mm-hmm. Can you have perfect balance? I really don't know.
You can have some harmony within your holistic wheel, but there will always be things out of your control or things that need changing or moving. If everything is always the same all the time, then the balance then becomes it's boring or it's not interesting or it's too mundane. So there's always going to be movement in there in one area or the other. And when there's movement in one, there's usually movement in another. Mm-hmm. And around as it goes, just like you were explaining with the car.
So before we dive into, and you've got a way to show us how to balance our lives, but even before we go there, would you say that it's kind of a moving target? Because every day is different. You could wake up and feel, this is just my mind thinking this, and feel things are pretty much in balance. I've got a good grip on it. Then something happens. Something changes during the day, and now it's a little out of balance. Is it always going to be just that's the expectation?
When you are feeling well about your sense of balance in your life, when there is an unexpected, like a something happens, there is usually that sense of efficacy we talked about last week, where you can overcome the challenge more easily. For example, if you were given a layoff like tomorrow and your holistic wellness is intact, meaning all areas of your life are solid, this layoff isn't going to knock you down for any period of time. Your financial area of your life is good because we're looking at somebody who has a good sense of balance. So that means that they probably have taken the advice of investors and they have a backup plan in case something happens. So now it's just a matter of taking a couple days to breathe, realize what's going on, catch up with your supports, look at your options, and then you move forward. So it doesn't take you right out. And it could, like losing a job is monumental. That's a really big deal. But if you have all of the areas of your life are good and you're feeling well and you have great self-esteem, then you could even look at it as a blessing in disguise. Some of these things happen for a reason. Everybody has those sort of beliefs that they follow. And so this might be something that pushes somebody into maybe their purpose. But if you weren't in balance, it could cause a depression. It could cause you to be very unwell and it just be awful. So balance is always moving, being aware of each area of your life. For example, I have been really sticking to a great workout plan for the last almost 3 months now, but this week I didn't work out, but I'm okay. I'm not thinking I've blown it. I'm never going to do it again. I wrecked it. I'm thinking, no problem. I'll just get back to it next week. But it was, something knocked me out of balance a little bit. But because things are relatively harmonious, we get back into it.
You know what I'm getting here in my mind is when you have an injury, let's say you break an arm, whatever. If you've been taking care of yourself previously, it's not going to be as challenging in the recovery. And they often say, yeah, Mike was in great shape, so this it's going to recover really fast. That's what I'm seeing here. Like if your life is relatively in as best balance as possible, right? Life moves forward, something changes, it's not going to affect you as much as if there was chaos in your life. Now you add this. Now it's like, you're
Yeah,
tripping all over. It's like,
that's right. You bounce back a little faster
yeah.
and sometimes stronger, right? So with a physical ailment like, breaking an arm or a leg or something that puts you out physically, if your mental wellness wasn't great to start with, you might feel like things are really crappy. But if you had um, strong sense of wellness emotionally, again, good self-esteem, knowing you can overcome challenges, then you'll bounce back faster.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. So, all right, what do we do? how do we how do we
I have
balance?
some suggestions. So there's some areas in life and people name them or call them different things. I have spiritual as one.
Hmm.
Some people might call that their religion. Like they could name it what you like, but as a guideline, so we'll have social. And so in social, that might look like having a group of friends or a couple good friends, or maybe some friends from work that you might go out with every Friday,
Hmm.
something small. Maybe you attend a community event from time to time. That's social time. Doesn't have to be huge, especially if you're an introvert and you kind of prefer to not be out there with a lot of people, but just to know that you are part of a group or have a friend. Physical movement. When I see men come to me and they say, I want to get in better shape, that means I want to start going to the gym tomorrow, every day from now on for the rest of my life. Like there's no like reasonable like amount. They just want to become suddenly they're in their best shape. So I say start with movement. And if the gym is a monumental feat, just start with going. See how you feel by just parking there. Just go.
So
If
you're
you can't
saying
get there to park,
I want to make sure I have that clear. If we're going to find things to balance in our lives, all these different categories, if you will, you're suggesting movement be the first one. If we're going to
um,
make
in the
adjustments,
physical, yeah, in the physical areas, if you're not somebody who's been very active in your life, start with any kind of movement,
sure.
walking, stretching. You
Yep.
could put on like um something on YouTube but start small. Don't go crazy and show up 5 days a week and this could you could have an injury, all kinds of things could happen, but what is likely to happen is you'll throw off the other areas of your life because you've now dedicated so much time to this need to become so physically in shape that you'll start to find other areas are not being looked after,
Hmm.
and then it will end up with not I don't want to say failure, but it won't end up the way you wanted it to. So I say start small, integrate it into your schedule slowly so other areas can adjust as you go. If you do choose to join a gym, maybe you're not somebody who has a lot of friends, and that then becomes your social time too.
Yep.
Maybe you join a class, you make a friend, right? Physical helps your emotional wellness, and all of those it just rolls together. So then we go to intellectual. Some people don't love reading. I'm a reader. I really like to read, but I put down
Hmm.
here for some examples a documentary or a podcast or engage in an intellectual conversation. Something that gets your brain going, that makes you feel intellectually stimulated, like you're learning something. Um, for the emotional, you might journal, you might walk in nature, you might talk to a coach, a therapist, but having emotional supports and knowing that you're doing well. And we could call that mental too. As a coach, though, I look at more mental wellness rather than mental health. So I'll call it emotional in this area. Spiritual, That could be joining a um, religious or spiritual group. Um, it could be doing rituals daily that make you feel connected to source, if that is an area of your life that you are interested in growing.
Could that be as simple as, or would that come under the category of meditation? Would that be spiritual?
Yep,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. So some spiritual practices, also walking in nature, meditation, breathing. When people say they can't meditate, I understand that because they call it the practice of meditation for a reason. It's taken me a couple years to get to the point where I reach a really satisfying meditative time
Mm.
daily.
It's
But just a
I just
few
want to
breaths.
let's focus on
Yeah,
that for a minute. Isn't it?
sure.
And I struggled with it. I get it. Isn't it kind of amazing once you get it, if you will?
Yeah.
Like I find myself, where was I? Maybe I was at the gym. I was somewhere where I just focused on something and I got
Yep.
immediately transported. It was the weirdest thing. Then there was another time, and this was also the gym, uh, and I changed the music in my headphones. I focused on a bolt on a machine. I closed my eyes. I opened them again. This is going to sound really weird, but I felt like I wasn't watching, but I felt like I was higher than I really was in the air, looking down at my workout, and I didn't even know I was lifting weights. It was the weirdest thing. No mushrooms were used in this. It was the weirdest thing, and I was like, "Oh my God, look at you cranking out!" And all I did was
Yeah.
just. I think it was the beginning of meditation, but it got me out of my head, and it was like, I don't want this to end. This feels great. It was the weirdest thing.
Doesn't it though? It's like
Yeah.
it's my favorite place to be sometimes. But so you use the word weird. I use the word wild. I'm sure other people have other words because there's no real word to describe this
Yeah.
feeling. So you said weird like three times in 30 seconds, but I do it with wild. I'm like,
It
it's
was
wild.
wild.
It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a wild ride for sure. Um,
And it was
so
unexpected
to
too. Like it wasn't like, all right, well, I'm
yeah,
going to go do this and get this done. No, no. And I'm finding myself more. It could be noisy, busy around me, no matter what it is. And I just focus and stare. And then it all kind of goes away. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm in a zone right now. Kind of like deep thoughts here. Yeah, I'm going to stay here for a little bit. It might
deep
last 10
thoughts.
seconds. It could last a minute, whatever it might be. Just sharing it because if you struggle with that meditation thing, I get it. But it's like riding a bike. When you were a kid, you learn how to ride a bike, and you're trying and you're trying and you're
Practice.
trying, and all of a
Yep.
sudden, like I'm riding, it's going. It was kind of the
Yeah.
same thing.
And some days my meditation comes so much more easily than others. I
Yeah.
know that even being hydrated can affect it. But
Ooh.
when you said like could be 10 seconds, could be 30 seconds, I get in my head to meditate when I do my elbow plank, my like core plank, because I find them so difficult, but my biggest barrier is my own thoughts. This is hard. Like my arms are shaking, my core is shaking. So instead
Hmm.
now I just get in my head, hop up into my plank and close my eyes and
Wow.
then go to the place.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm getting better at it because I'm surprising myself.
I'm
Get
gonna
out of
try
your own
that.
head sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
because
we just need to get out of our own head.
a 40 seconds into a plank, it's after a while like, all right, I'm here. And then,
It's hurting.
but what I do at that point, and doesn't really prolong it, but it helps. The music I'm on, as I'm planking, I start like moving my foot like just to get me away from thinking.
You got out of
Meditation,
your head. Yeah.
disconnecting
Yeah.
brain from body. You could do the same
Yeah.
thing with effective meditation. Yeah,
100%.
so
Yeah,
cool.
that's great. Wild for sure.
It really is.
So
It really is. I could
so
tell you other
spiritual.
stories. A couple of
Yeah.
years ago, I did it, and very briefly here, I got transported back to being in my 20s. And weirdest thing, I
Mm.
was just staring at an object. Somebody suggested I do it. They're kind of facilitating it, and I felt like I was in my 20s. And one of my favorite things to do was to go to a high school track and jog. And I jog around. Sometimes I go backwards. It would be my opportunity to listen to different songs and music. I literally
Right?
heard the same songs I listened to in my 20s when I was staring at that object. And it was almost a reminder for me to say, go back to doing that. When you were younger, that
Right.
was fun. Again,
Yes.
all was just meditation. Yeah, cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. That is very cool stuff.
Mm.
We could almost do a whole show on just meditation.
Right?
But but just to sum up this section, it could be religious, it could be mean going to church for some people, and it could just really mean meditation
Sure.
and connecting in your own way for
Yep.
sure. So environmental, when I hear people say my house is a mess and they're stressed about it, I feel it in my core. Your environment, if it
Mm,
is chaotic or cluttered or like it's not a place that you feel at home or safe or a joy or things, your environment impacts you so much.
yep.
And that could mean your work environment where you go to work each day. It could mean your home environment. It could mean where you go and you spend a lot of time, maybe at the gym or at the library. Or if the environment isn't good for you, it is going to impact you
Yep.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like your sleep environment, if you're not getting good sleep, then it suddenly affects your emotional health. And now you're looking at not being, energetic enough to do your workout. And now, you know what I mean? Like you go one section of your life to another. If it's not well and you don't get it corrected, it's just like dominoes.
Makes a big difference. And I realized that years ago, somebody who is famous for being intuitive, I'll just leave it at that. Like he's very plugged into energy. He actually said, yeah, if you got boxes, here and there on the floor, maybe you're in transition, cleaning, moving, whatever it might be, that
Yep.
blocks your flow of energy. And that's basically
Yes.
going to mess you up. You need to have a flow. You need to have things clean and, in terms of order. I know some of us, maybe that's a challenge for us, but it makes a difference. You're spot on. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're not a person who can be at home long enough to really get on this stuff and you just want to go home and relax because your days are busy,
Yeah.
just try to have one space that you can go to, just one that is when you look around, you're happy to be in it and you're not thinking, oh, I have to do this or I should have done that or, just try to have one safe, comfortable, enriching, beautiful space that you enjoy.
Mm. I just want
Um,
to interject here in
for
15
sure.
seconds. I never do this. Maybe once every, I don't know, 5 months or whatever, I'll have a cleaning person come in. And I did it earlier this
Yeah.
week. It is like walking into a hotel now. I'm neat. I have two cats, a dog.
Yeah.
I keep up with them. I vacuum, I mop. I'm taking care of it. But OMG, walking in after
Mm.
the clean person left, so was worth every penny. And it's just like it's like a new place. So just saying, it's worth the investment every once in a while. Whatever works
So
for you.
notice how that impacted your mental,
Oh
the
my
way you
gosh.
felt. It impacted your mood, right? So if you were going to try and meditate in that space now and you
Mm,
feel good there, you're probably going to connect
yep,
quicker and smoothly and be happy to. Maybe now you want to entertain in that space because you feel good that it's clean. So maybe you can invite people over.
that's tomorrow
Now you
or
have
pre
some
pre.
some
I'm already
social
doing
stuff.
that. That was part of why I
Yeah.
did it. But you're 100% right. You're like reading my mind. And I found something else with just having somebody clean. It was like the feeling you get when you take care of yourself, even with a massage or something like that. I
Mhm.
felt like I did something for myself. It isn't just
Yeah.
about tidying things up and cleaning things up. It's it's
Yeah.
it, it's a whole mental thing going on there.
For sure it is. Absolutely. I 100% agree. For somebody like me, I spend a lot of time in my environment. I work here, I raise my kids here. Like this is our home. If it gets cluttered, it really bothers me. I have to make time and energy to look
Yeah.
after it because if I don't, my mood will decline and nobody wants to hang out with a moody mom. So
Yep.
um, so financial's another really important one. It plays an equal role in this. Of course, society says financial is the end all be all. And without it, we can't accomplish so many things. But if your mental wellness isn't good, you may not be able to reach your financial goals. So we have to take care of ourselves holistically to also look after this financial piece.
Yep.
So if we're in a job that we really dislike, maybe we want to go back to school.
Mm.
So then that looks at education and career as being really important in how it affects our financial wellness. And like the opposite, financial wellness can affect whether or not we have the opportunity to go back to school. Sometimes you can get things through social support, but the idea is while we put so much into having financial wellness as being the number one thing, we can't have that if we don't have the other areas intact. So that's why it becomes a holistic wheel. It's harmony together.
I'm thinking here too, when you talk about the financial aspect of things, so many people that have won the lottery, millions of dollars, unexpectedly. I forget the exact number, but it's up there like 90%. It didn't make them happy. It didn't make them happy. And
Yeah.
I would have to imagine that other parts of their life were out of balance. Now you took care of the financial aspect of it, but if your relationships aren't solid, if you're, all health and money can't buy health. So,
Yeah.
all those things aren't there. That money, there's proof. It's not gonna change things radically. You got to change things
Right.
around it.
Right. Yes, 100%. So it all does work together. So the next one I have is occupational, but it could be, career, could be education, it could be both. That's why I said like it's not the wheels look different sometimes,
Yep.
interchangeable, but that is another really important one. If you are not happy in your career or the things that you do day to day, that's going to impact your emotional wellness. It's going to drain you. You might not feel like going for a walk after supper, but if you're really happy, you're feeling joy and fulfillment and purpose, then you're going
Yeah.
to want to do better, be better in all these areas. So you'll learn, maybe you'll get a raise, maybe you'll get a promotion that helps your intellectual, it helps your financial, it helps your emotional. Maybe they have a gym at your work and now you feel really well about
Mm.
everything and feel like, before I head home, I'm going to hit the gym or
That's a pinnacle point right there. In that when you've kind of nailed it within your, what would you call this? The wheel of balance? Would it be
this one's called a wellness wheel.
wellness
Like
wheel?
I call
Okay.
it our holistic wellness. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it looks like a pie and it has all of the different areas of your life.
It makes every area of your life better when all of the areas are
Yeah.
relatively in balance, like you just said. Um, when you're feeling good because other things around you are in balance, then when it
Yeah.
comes to usually like, I feel like working out, I'm tired, I want to go to
Yeah.
the gym. I get it. But if you're feeling good about yourself because your finances are in order, because your relationship's in order, because spiritual part of you is in order, all of that, the intellectual part, then you feel good about going to the gym when normally you might say, I don't really want to go. I'm not feeling it. It's a big
And then
difference.
if you do miss the gym because
Yes.
something came up and you have to go, that's okay. The little
Yeah.
blips are, you move through them rather
Yep.
than allow them to kind of stop you in your tracks.
Totally.
So if when I sit down with people really quickly, just before we end,
Hmm.
to find out kind of their overall like holistic health, I ask them to rate each area on a scale of 1 to 10, and then we take a look at the areas that are
Mm.
the lowest numbers, and then they might choose a goal to improve it for the next week. So I give them homework, say. Um, and it might be, they really want to connect with other people. Their social life isn't what they want it to be. So what does that look like? It might look like joining a dart league. It might look like signing up for adult dance classes. It might it depends on what they're interested in, but find something that you like and then choose a group that supports that. Maybe you like gardening and there's a community garden. Now you're getting out, you're doing something you like, and that will raise that number up a little bit and provide other opportunities in other areas to raise too.
Mm. It does. All of this does really make a huge, this is the answer
Mhm.
to really
Yeah.
feeling fulfilled and happy. It is. It is. It's all
And
there.
so that's why like this goes through the whole 12 weeks when I work with somebody. Each session, we talk a little bit about like what does our wheel look like today, how we tweaked it here and there. And then we move into the next section, self-esteem and purpose. And they go through 6 weeks self-esteem, 6 weeks purpose. But the balance goes through the whole 12 weeks because and it should continue past the relationship. I have the coaching relationship with my client. I hope that they continue to be aware when there's an area in their life that is off or something, maybe they've been overspending and it's really bugging them in the back of their head because, they're digging into their savings
Mm.
and that's affecting their financial wellness. So, if they're aware of their balance, they'll correct it faster, that sort of thing. So,
I would
yeah.
imagine too that once you start, you're being intentional about keeping the areas of your life in balance. It's almost like automatic. After a while, you kind of make shifts and you don't even really know you're doing it, but you are. Yeah.
Yeah, because it starts to feel good.
Yeah. Well, oh, yeah. Well, okay. Maybe we end there. We don't, habits do not happen unless there's a payoff. So why do people smoke? That's a habit because they derive pleasure from puffing a cigarette, whatever it might be. This, if you make it a habit, you feel good about it. And that's why you'll continue doing the habit. There's a payoff.
For sure. There's healthy ways to
Yeah.
make your holistic life well, for sure. Good
How do
habits.
how do we find you, Andrea? What's the best way?
On my website, www.lifecoachformen.ca or email Andrea@lifecoachformen.ca and on social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Great talking with you today. Thanks for all this
Thank
insight.
you.
For me, I've been kind of doing it, but you went into detail and depth and reminders on all of this. And one thing with the movement thing, stretching is so underrated. Oh my gosh, the
I
older
know.
you get,
I love
oh
stretching.
my God,
I do love stretching too. Yeah.
it's mandatory as you get older. You should be doing it when you're when you're a kid, but older, like it's almost embarrassing.
Helpful, noticeably helpful when you're older.
For sure. Thank you for today.
Yeah.
Looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you so much. For sure.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.